Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your moms will practically build themselves. Top of the morning to you folks. It's Mad Dog Merv. We have got a holiday coming up that I absolutely love. St. Patty's Day. You know, I'm not a big fan of February 14th. Just, you know, some people like it, some people don't. It's really not my favorite, but I got to tell you, St. Patrick's Day, yeah, that's a good one. Because for one day, everybody in the world is Irish. And I've had a lot of fun over the years with the, with the whole St. Patrick's Day thing. This year, I got this idea. So I've got the train board, and I wanted to do some different themes. How about St. Patrick's Day? That would be really cool. So stick with us, and we're going to build a St. Patrick's Day train. So here's where we're going to start. I have this really old Mantua Tyco engine, and it runs pretty good, but you know, it's not really something that I'm going to be pulling long trains with or anything like that. It has the old style couplers. It's got the old pancake motor in it. You know what? This would be perfect to strip down and paint and turn into our St. Patrick's Day engine. So we're going to start with this. I've got a nice tank car. Can't imagine what we would put in this for St. Patrick's Day. Okay, but we're going to take this. I'm going to look around for a caboose. You know, I've got this old Spirit of 76 caboose, and well, the paint's kind of, you know, shot on the one side, so I don't know, maybe we'll use this. And we're going to look at maybe one or two other cars and see what we come up with. So let's start there. We're going to start tearing this apart so that we. So now we're going to need to mix up for our airbrush, and I'm going to use one of these little cups that I use for just about everything. And we're going to paint with Imron, good old-fashioned Imron, not the new formulated stuff. I'll be honest with you, this is probably 20 years old. I used this to paint my 1967 Mustang. Actually, the color we're going to use is the color I used on my truck. My 72 Ford truck. And I painted that back in 1998. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, 21 years ago. So the paint was kind of old then. So it's been around a while. This gallon I had. I acquired it from a friend of mine in a trade, and it was just kind of a green base, and I had it mixed into two different colors because it was like a 2.5 gallon container. One color was a nice dark green metallic that I used on my 1967 Mustang, and it turned out pretty good. I actually should. Here the kids and I are getting the 67 Mustang prepped. You can see the green color that the car was originally. So we tried to match that pretty close with this Imron. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it after we painted it. Actually should have painted it the brighter green, second thought. And then there is the nice lighter, you know, bright green that I painted my 72 Ford Highboy. Well, just so happens that I still have some of it left. I don't have enough to paint a whole vehicle, but I do have enough to do some of these projects. So, with Imron, you want to mix it 1 to 4. I still have the hardener. Isn't that awesome? So, I'm going to take and I'm going to pour some hardener in. I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to add 3 parts of this. I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, I've mixed that up, and I have now poured it in here. So 1 to 4, 1, which I did the what is that, the 2.5 cc, and then up to 10 with the paint, and then I put in about 50% lacquer thinner. Okay, I know you're going, what in the heck is he doing with that? The lacquer thinner retards it a little bit. This is going to speed it up and accelerate it and make it dry quicker, but this is going to retard it a little bit. So this is not going to dry real fast. It's going to take a couple of days to be totally not tacky, but that's okay. I've got plenty of time. I'm going to let it sit outside. So here we go. I'm going to crank up my pressure to about I'm going to shoot this at about 40 pounds. And just like I would, you know, a car, I'm going to give it a light coat first for something to bite to. Something to bite to. Okay, so there's coat number 1. And this stuff actually flashes off pretty quick. So I'm going to go back now and add a little more color. A little bit thicker coat. Tell you what, that 72 Ford truck was a beautiful truck with this. And in hindsight, the 67 Mustang would have been just stunning this color. But it wasn't bad in the darker green. The darker green was closer to its stock color. You know, which was okay. But it was durable paint. I mean, geez. This stuff, you know, Imron used to be the be-all, do-all, end-all. It was the first real polyurethane. I think it was back in the 70s that it came out. I started spraying it in the late 80s. Oh, okay. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to put this aside to dry for several days. Okay, like I said, it flashes off pretty quick, but it stays tacky for a while because I used the lacquer thinner to thin it out and to get it to flow better. So we're going to set this aside for a few days. Let's see how this is turning out. So here's the engine. It's got quite a shine. The thing with this Imron, it has an amazing gloss to it. It's been 3 days now, and I can handle it. I can feel that it's still just a tad bit tacky, so I don't really want to mess with it too much, but wow, that turned out really good. You see, we took all the windows out, we took all the railings off. I did have a little bit of repair work to do on one of the front steps. Got the horns off, everything, it just stripped down real. These come apart really easily. And then we primed it. We went over it with the Imron, and I do like the results. So let's look for some decals now, see if we can do something kind of fun with this thing. Here the engine is all dry. I couldn't find any real good decals I liked, so I went ahead and hand painted Luck of the Irish on it and gave it the road number 777. I'm still going to have to put the railings on it, but you can see here this hand paint job turned out pretty good. And of course, this paint is rock hard. I love Imron. In this picture, you can see I've started to put the railings on. I just used some brass wire, I think it was aught 20, and I left it. I didn't color it because, well, it's kind of a gold color. I think it looks great. I did have to make some rear number boards, and I just put the 777 on there. And here's the nose with the railings on, and I painted a shamrock there. I decided to save my horns for another project, and I custom built these horns out of some tube styrene. Figured, you know, for kind of a novelty train that this would be just fine. And here it is with the side rails on. And what I had to do was super glue the uprights in place, but I think it turned out pretty good, and I love the fact that it's got that nice brass color along with the green. And here's the nose. Again, I've gone ahead and put a KD coupler on the front. I'm not going to be ever pushing with this, but I did leave a standard coupler on the back because, well, with most of my novelty trains, the cars are all standard couplers. But I thought it would look neat going down the road with this KD coupler on the front like it's supposed to have. So here's our tank car completed. Well, completed as far as the paint's now dry, and I've gone ahead and used the same railing here. Again, think that this looks really good putting this this new brass railing on it. I'm going to do this string of lights, and I couldn't quite figure out how to get it from track power, so I just went ahead and used the battery pack, and I thought these would be really cool. They're a green LED light. So for the battery pack, I'm going to mount that to this particular flatbed that I have. I'll probably put a couple of lights on it, and then I'd like to put some little figurines or like a pot of gold or something. We'll see what I can find. But here it is. We've glued the pack down with Gorilla Glue, let it dry. I've painted the pack in kind of another green. I think this is a CP green that I've got. And you can see how those lights are going to look. Now, the next car in line is going to be my pot of gold. I'm going to paint this with this CP green first and see how that looks. Of course, the coal I'm going to paint with Tamiya's gold. And after I painted it with the CP green, I found this color by Boyd that I had, kind of this lime gold. And I thought, I'm going to paint it with this. So I went ahead and sprayed the whole car with this. And of course, here's how it worked out. With the lights underneath it, I really like how this thing turned out. Just a little bit different green, just enough that it sets off the rest of the train. But I really like the way the gold turned out. Here's where I decided to mount the lights. I did 2 per side on the tank car. You see I had to take the railing off just long enough to get these lights put into place. And I'm going to run it as a daisy chain, so it's going to be a train all the time. And finally, here we are with the caboose. And I painted that caboose with the Imron. We took off the smokestack and put a shamrock there, and then I put one of the LEDs inside. So let's take a look and see what this is like on the layout. Oh, couldn't find a miniature pot of gold, nor could I find a leprechaun figurine that I liked that was the proper size. So we'll keep looking for that for maybe next year. And I just kind of did a little cardboard cutout this year. So anyway, oh, here we are with the lights out on the layout. And you can see this thing really lights up the night.